Mayra can just go ahead and paint herself on out of my life. Just paint yourself a river, get in a boat, and sail down it, baby. Hey guys, welcome to Kristen and Katie Read. I'm Kristen.
I'm Katie.
And we like to
read.
What day is it? Whose music is it? ACourtOfSilverFlames. It's Nesta's music.
Nesta's music.
Katie actually has a Kindle. I just use my iPad. But it's not the most convenient size, but like first world problems. You really...
I was trying... Okay, look. There. Boom.
You guys, we started the book today. We wanted to do like a quick initial reaction to the beginning of the book. So there's no spoilers in this, like no plot spoilers or anything like that. A lot of this is just what we read at the very beginning of the book, our initial thoughts and reactions. Wow, it's been a while since it hasn't. It's been less than a year since I read the novella, but it was a good refresher. I forgot that the first chapter is in the end, or that maybe the novella just runs into this one, but it was a good refresher to remember kind of where we left off, a little bit about what's happened since the final battle and end of book 3.
If this is your first book, she really reorients you in what's been going on.
I mean, honestly, you could start with this one if you want. This is a very beloved series by many. There's elements of it that I like. I am just FOMO. I have to know what happens. I have to know what everyone's talking about. But yes, I have a couple notes for some rapid fire reactions to the beginning of this book.
I do too.
Here's what I have written down in order of appearance. Males making their entrance very soon. Males, in case anyone forgot, Sarah J. Maas does not say men or boys. Males, that's all they are.
Fae are men, or are males.
Right, fae, males. Folks, it's out there.
Boom.
Maybe I'll say the F word. It's out there. This is an adult series. She is letting you know we have made the jump from young adult to just new adult. Whatever we're calling this, the F word is out there.
We can just now say fuck Feyre because she said the F word, so we're good. We can just say it.
Yeah, she gets that alliteration. The human queens, their reference, so I think that's gonna play. I just don't know what this series is going to be about, like what the big bad is. So these are just all of my thoughts from the beginning where we still don't know where this is going. But the human queens, I thought the prologue with the cauldron, just starting, obviously this is Nessa's book, we're gonna hear her thoughts, but just hearing it, we're gonna understand her so much better. So I'm so excited about that.
My very first instinct, or my very first thought whenever I started this adventure today was how much the previous 3 books, the 3 novels, could have benefited from being from multiple points of view.
Oh, that's a great point.
And how ridiculous it is that we were stuck with Feyre for 3 entire novels.
What a freaking hot take. You are so right.
Because immediately, we shift back and forth, and it's so much better.
Katie, that is an adult F word freaking good point, okay? Wow.
Thank you. We're adults. We're adults now.
I had to rush to a pen. I don't know why, because I don't know how I could have forgotten this, but needed to write this point down. Casual orgy reference.
Yeah.
What? When he's like, oh yeah, we used to just throw down with everybody in the same room. I was like, okay, so that's gonna come back up.
I do think that it's really interesting that they it's been a year since the war ended. Yeah. And Nesta's 20, 21.
And in life, they've been around literally 50 times longer than her.
Right. And they're pissed at her for having PTSD, or not pissed at her, they're concerned for her. But like, because of this PTSD and the drinking and the having sex with randos, it's like, wait, weren't you all like severely adult F-worded up for like centuries because of all of the shit that you've been through? But it's embarrassing when Nesta does it.
In fact, having orgies, they were all having slumber parties in the same room. But Nesta getting drunk and having a guy back to her apartment that she's totally in control of, and like she said, she knows what she likes and that's what she gets, is not okay. I draw issue. While I find Nesta to be very negative and a little like, why are you like this kind of a person, she has every right to be angry with them for one. They want her to be who they want her to be, and she can be her own person. So it's interesting. You made a great point about another person being taken against their will and falling in love with the person that's taken them. Is
oh
where
my
I fear
God.
we're going.
I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe that I didn't make the connection whenever we read the novella.
Yeah.
Because it just dawned on me today. I was like, oh my God, she doesn't want to go, but she has to go with just this one person who's obviously her love interest.
Right. Like they're already love interests, which I guess is the difference between Feyre and Tomlin. Like she went to try to save her family, but it's just a very interesting, it's a slippery slope. It has to be done really well. She's there against her will, and we can't just say every time a girl is taken against her will, she'll fall in love with the person. It just doesn't seem like the move. What are we doing?
We want that known. We don't condone that.
Let's see. Okay, smut books. Really, Sarah? We're really gonna reference smut? We're referencing it in a high fantasy book. We are referencing smut novels. That's pretty meta. Do you, girl? You know what? You know your audience.
Not only are we referencing a smut book in a high fantasy book, but it's like a high fantasy romance book.
Right. That's why she's doing it, I think. It's so meta.
It's so great.
This is what people think of Sarah J. Maas books, and she's like, oh, I'll give the people. I'm going to give the people what they want. I love that. I love that. Fan service is just service. That's why you write the book. This is why I read Sarah J. Maas books. This is why my mind is still exploding from the lack of smut in Crescent City, but it's fine.
True, but it's well earned in Crescent City.
I mean, you know what scene lives rent free in my head right here? Aelin on the beach with the lightning and the glass. Wow.
You're not wrong. Wow.
I mean, that's probably what Nessa's reading. My gosh.
I mean, they are all connected, all the universes.
Yeah, smut, love that. It's so meta of her to do.
I was thinking about how much better it's going to be being inside Nesta's head, because already, I mean, you're on chapter 3, I'm a little bit further, but just by chapter 3, just like hearing the way that she like talks to herself and like what she thinks about herself is like so important as to like what she's actually saying or how she's actually acting versus like what goes through her head before it happens.
That's a good point. Like she's narrating out loud, like she knows what will upset them. Like if I say this, it'll upset them. She's intentionally wanting to distance herself because it comes from a place of hurt. We don't know yet if she actually feels that. I don't think she does. I think she intentionally doesn't want to accidentally get too close to someone. She wants to be isolated. So she goes for the kill shot with the words she chooses. And that makes so much more sense hearing it from her head. Like hearing her think it. And that's going to make her beautiful, because if you really stop and look at her, yes, she saved them in the last one, but like as a person, she's not that likable. And I think that that's what this book is going to give us, is she's going to be, I mean, let's be honest, I'm going to like her more than Feyre. So
100%. Hey, we just get a chance to get away from her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I will say, I loved Nesta in the first series. I wanted so much more from her because I am always a fan of like a bitchy, like rich girl who has to like go through some kind of transformation to like come into herself and be a hero. I was a big Sansa fan.
Brooke Davis, is that you? Are you
Brooke
calling?
Davis fan. I mean, like
Blair Waldorf? Ever heard of her? My God.
It's just, I always liked that redemption story. And so I was pretty frustrated where the first 3 books and the novella left her.
Yeah.
But I guess if this is where she gets her redemption, I'm very interested in these next books.
Yeah. And I think that the last series left something like it was unbalanced. There's this huge world that we would sometimes get dumps of and then not. Like, she created such an intricate world and land in all this history, and we barely scratched the surface of it. Barely. So I really think we're going to have a more developed bad guy, or kind of where we're going, maybe get to know more about the other courts. Katie, what are your predictions for this book, or maybe like where the greater following series is going?
I predict that Cassian and Nesta are going to have the best love scene.
Yeah.
In this series.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be like, it's going to come from a place of anger. It's going to be like they're bad at each other and then they like hook up. It's going to be great.
The passion.
I think that we're headed towards like humanity being more of the big bad, or just like that people can be like, the people are capable of doing really scary and like horrible things.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be more of like a castle intrigue conflict until the big battles, court intrigue.
Oh, I like that. I mean, the court part seems to be important. It's the title of every book.
It seems like there are 7 courts or something.
Some are saying. Some are saying. Oh man. I think long-term prediction, I think, like you said, humans are going to be important. Who do you think the next, like, I still don't know yet. I'm sure by the end of this book we'll know, like, who's the next couples that we're following? Is it just go to Elaine next and her little love triangle, and then what?
It really hurts me that Feyre got 3 books by herself.
It's so wild.
Because I would like for Nesta to get 3 books by herself. Because I find Elaine to be so boring.
I'm very concerned. Elaine is the piano player sister from Little Women. You only care about them because the sisters care about her. What is she doing that's interesting?
Beth?
Yeah, the one that dies. I don't care about her. I only care that it upsets Joe.
And Amy.
Is this a hot take or is this a really bad take?
No, I actually don't care about Beth that much either.
No, it's just like, she's just like sweet, petite, dainty.
I mean, it's like,
what is she offering the story? Nothing. She'll have to create a new personality for this character for me to care about her. So.
Yeah, Elaine just doesn't do it for me. I love Amryn and I like Morrigan.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to get to know both of them better.
Yeah, because I feel like in the first 3 books, well, they're only in the 2nd and 3rd book. So we don't even really get to know them that well. And in that short amount of time, Feyre is dealing with a lot, I guess, and is very self-centered, and her and Rhys are by themselves a lot. So we don't even really get to see those relationships in full.
Right, and also, I find both of them more interesting than Feyre. So you're right. Amryn, I hope that we get so much more of them.
I love Amryn. Yeah. I love any like tiny, petite, but dangerous woman, like who's just like so small that people are like, oh, she's so cute. And then she's like the most terrifying creature in Prithian or whatever. I love that. I love it.
I honestly still, just after the beginning of this book, it could go anywhere. I have very few other predictions other than like a lot of the big bad. I think the cauldron stuff is obviously, we have a lot to learn about her powers, a lot to learn about what the cauldron can do. Just magic in general, I think we're going to get a lot more established information.
I read somewhere that somebody like tweeted, and they were like, people keep trying to guess who the big bad in WandaVision is. And it's like, isn't grief enough? And that's kind of how I feel about this book. Like, there will be a big bad,
Right.
but I wonder, like, I feel like her PTSD and whatever Cassian has to overcome is going to be the biggest part of this book, with new conflicts and worries for people then.
It's like that this is the human piece that we all struggle with, is overcoming some trauma in our past, because we can't all relate to like a magical big bad, but we can all relate to something really traumatizing happening and having to move forward from it. So I think you're totally right. I think that's more of the storyline than the big bad, but I am curious to know who it's going to be.
Agreed. How many
Agreed.
sex scenes do you think we're gonna get?
Okay. You asked me how many sex scenes do I think there will be?
With anybody. Like, this could be we see anybody doing it. How many do you think we're getting? She said this was a very steamy book.
I don't believe it. I think that there'll be steam, but they won't actually be having sex. I say 3, and I think one of them will be Feyre and Rhys, and I think 2 will be...
We see them do it all the time.
Huh?
We see them do it all the time.
I know. I, again, stand by 2 Nestia and Cassian, and 1 Feyre Rhys.
Okay, I think we're gonna get 4 Cassian and Nesta.
What? I mean, I'm here for it, obviously.
And then I think we'll get 1 from another couple. I'm going with 5.
Say, this is what we came for. Katie, we're going to play my favorite game.
Okay.
Describe your feelings in 30 seconds about the beginning of this book, spoiler free. 3, 2, 1, go.
I am very excited. I came into this story and was immediately excited that Nesta is remembering the cauldron. I love seeing it from her point of view. I think that Feyre still sucks and that she's still on her high horse bullshit, and she's just trying to help Nesta because it's going to save face. And Rhys is kind of annoying. I love Cassian. I really warming up to Azriel might be a hot take because everybody's obsessed with him. I like Morgan and Amryn, and I'm really excited to get Cassian and Nesta back together.
Yeah, baby!
How was that?
That was so impressive.
Ready? Kristen, describe your feelings about reading the first chapter of this book, or the first section, in 30 seconds. Go.
I love the opening prologue. I love Nesta's point of view of the cauldron. I think the magic that we have to learn about there is going to be way cooler than anything we saw in the original trilogy. It was like 1% of the original trilogy and the most interesting part. I like Nesta so much more than Feyre. Elaine is still really boring. Morgan is, I'm really excited to get to know more. I don't know what else. I'm excited for the smuttiness. Give me the smut. I'm liking it. I'm liking it better than A Thorn of Court and Roses.
Ding, 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 ding. Time.
How did I do?
You're great. That was great. I totally agree. Already, like, first chapter in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm hooked.
Yeah, I like it
easier.
so more.
It's easier returning to a world, but also just like, she's gotten so much better as a writer. It's just so nice. Like, I was immediately like, in.
Well, I forget because I read all of A Throne and Glass series before I read this series, but they came out at the same time. Like, she didn't have all of A Throne and Glass. That series was not done before this initial series started. So, like, right. I mean, just the jump from the first book, A Court of Thorn and Roses, to the second book, The Mist and Fury, huge improvement, more characters, you know, all these things, and now getting this multiple perspective, a really, really cool magic world. I think she knows how to balance more of the plot in a world with the dialogue and the character development. And hopefully she can kind of, there's some things like where Feyre really would contradict herself, where I think that she can maybe establish more likable characters or characters that we clearly understand their motives. Feyre can just go ahead and paint herself on out of my life. Just paint yourself a river, get in a boat, and sail down it, baby. This is a one way.
Every time they talk about her painting.
She's so good at painting, Katie. She just you feel every emotion in her breast.
You feel it in her breast?
Maybe. I'm not trying to, but some might.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the Louvre, baby. The Louvre. She's gonna find her way here. Get her art in there.
Get out of here. So those are our initial hot takes on A Court of Silver. We're excited to see where it goes. Yeah, excited to watch everybody's reactions. Follow along, tell us your hot takes.